welcome everybody, I guess, to the M365 UK. I can see some familiar faces, or rather the titles, I guess the names. Welcome to the folks who's been to the M365 UK. I do know there are a lot of new, not a lot of new attendees, so they might not know fully about M365 UK. My name is Chirag Patel. I'm the organizer for the M365 UK and tend to run this on a monthly basis, but it was on a hold for almost a year, I think. So it's been a year since I've come back. Of course, I think we've all been busy with AI and all the priorities and still learning along the way, right? So hence, always look out on the great sessions to be able to bring to the user group. So I want to just sort of introduce the agenda really. So kind of we'll just go through a very brief intro in a sec. But we got through three good speakers from India, Switzerland, here in the UK, and it's all about the Azure AI Foundry, bringing your own model, Copilot agents, how to govern and protect your kind of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So some real good kind of experiences from the field. So it's almost 3 hour slot, I think. So it's kind of one after another, but I'm hoping that you will still be energized. Usually we do take a break, but then I know sometimes people either kind of disappear or they don't come back. So I've kind of trying this out today to see if we can keep this continuous. And of course, throughout the user group today, please use the chat facility. And obviously, we're all here to respect each other. So please keep your comments to the topic if you can, please. And of course, ask any questions in the chat. And I'm sure the speakers will be looking through that as well and try and answer your questions there. So I'll introduce the speakers shortly. But for those of you who don't know me, I live and work in London. Kind of been working with SharePoint, SQL Server, and M365 now for a number of years. Tend to work in an IT pro capacity, and I like to think I speak quite a lot in the community events, and for that reasons, Microsoft have awarded me MVP for 6 years now. I'm also a trainer, so I write my own courses and deliver courses for the partners, carry out consulting engagements for a few partners in the UK, covering all sorts of things around migrations, building existing solutions, or simply training and adoption, right? And tend to cover all the technologies within the M365 space. So there's my QR code, will be good to connect, or any questions you may have, then please do reach out to me as well. So that'll be great. It's got nearly 1,300 members or so on our meetup.com M365 UK. And then of course, these are just some of the social media handles. If you're not following, then please do to stay up to date with the events and everything else that comes along. And of course, like our speakers, a lot of them came to sessionize.com /M365 UK. So, would be good to have you speak for us. Just in the process of confirming few speakers. So I'll be opening the call for speakers later today or tomorrow. So you'll be able to submit your sessions if you're interested. So it's a very similar format on Teams online. So absolutely, Terence, as I can just see in the chat. So yeah, absolutely, everybody is welcome. If you can't do 50 minutes and you can do only half an hour, that's good to me as well, as long as you're able to get your topic across. So it's all community oriented, so definitely don't take any product pitches or anything like that at all. So it's for the community, so definitely anything to share, yeah, absolutely come aboard. So we'll be happy to be part of the M365 UK. YouTube.com /M365 UK. So this user group is being recorded. So I will make this available for anybody from the wider audience to track back on this recording content as well. So look out for that on the youtube.com/M365UK. So we got three speakers, as I mentioned. We got Bhargavi from India, who is MVP and MCT for 2-3 years now, and obviously she's a senior software engineer, kind of covering all things around the business applications, the Azure AI side of things. So looking forward to a session around bringing your own model and how you could potentially extend that in Copilot Studio. So we'll have that until local time, 5 o'clock, 50 odd minutes. And then, of course, I see Cynthia's on the call here as well. So hi, Cynthia. Cynthia Akiotu. She'll be delivering a session around from productivity to protection. So looking at all the compliance, I guess the security related things to try and govern this in the best way possible. And then, of course, last but not least is Fabio Bonolo, who's from Switzerland. So he's he's a kind of very regular speaker, and he'll be talking about how you could kind of go for the extensibility of Copilot agents and what have you. So looking forward to some demos, I guess, on this. And then, of course, we'll wrap up around 6:45 local time. So I guess with that, we'll hand it over. And now I know there were just minor issues going on. So Bhargavi, are you here yet? Just wanted to check. So I'm gonna just have a quick look. I'm not sure I was having some issues.
I'm here. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, except it's coming across as a kind of a very crackly tone. I'm not sure if that's everybody who's experiencing that. If not, then it's probably me. And but yeah, if you can take over, then I can, and then you can take over. So no issues. Okay, so Richard is confirming no issues. All right. Okay, so it must be me then. Bhargavi, go ahead and please take over. Thank you.
Chirag, 1 second. Let me share my screen. I don't have permission to share my screen.
There we go. You're a presenter now, so hopefully you're able to.
Okay. So, hello everyone.
Hi, Bhargavi. Yep, we can hear you well. We can see your screen.
Yeah, okay. So, today's session would be like we will be getting started with building intelligent agent with Copilot Studio, wherein we will be bringing up our own Copilot Studio models. I mean, the AI Foundry models uh, inside the Copilot Studio. So before we get started, let me give a brief introduction about myself. I'm CR Bhargavi, and I'm a data scientist lead and a Power Platform expert as well. I had been delivering sessions globally, and I do mentor, write blogs, and be an author as well. And I'm a most valuable professional and community contributor. And this is my LinkedIn QR code. You can get in touch with me post the session if you have any doubts, and I would be happy to help you out post the session as well. So with that, the agenda for today's session would be like we will be seeing about the Copilot Studios overview, and then we will be also seeing how do we integrate the AI builder, and then we would also be covering how do we do the AI models being integrated inside the Copilot Studio. So there are different ways that what we can have the models being added, and we would be seeing each one of those in a while. So before we get started, let us get started with an understanding about what are AI agents, and then we would be gradually moving each of it. Um, so what are AI agents? AI agents are like one smart software services which would be helping you up in leveraging the Gen AI capabilities which are there, and would be helping you out in um, would be helping you out in having the features which are related to the details which you want to do on with the Gen AI capabilities being added, and then will also add the contextual data with AI algorithm to understand the and respond effectively to the user. So this is something that the AI agent will be helping you out. And what it does, apart from the one that what it would be doing is like it would be having the capabilities of having the low code no code being added. Like, why do you want a Gen AI to be added as part of your low code no code? Is like when you want to have some kind of feature, when you want your business intelligence to be added with the low code no code, then that becomes more easier, and you can have the capabilities being added more effectively, right? So that's where you will be having the low code no code tool. So there comes in the part something to be like when you have the Copilot Studio, say in case when you want to tailor your own Copilot, and when you want to have your own GPT models being added, and then when you want to develop something which will be allowing you to customize your own Copilot, and extending the existing one with the context within the Microsoft 365, then you would be using the Copilot Studio for the same. And what you would be doing is like you will be handling in case of like you want to handle the different task that what you want to perform, then you will be handling those things. And when you want to have something like a low code no code approach, then you will be following that as well. Like, it falls under the low code no code approach. So when it comes for the architecture of Copilot Studio, then it's something like this. The creator layer will be having the Copilot Studio. Like, there are four different layers which are being available, and layer will be of one layer will be of like it will be having the having um all the different things. Like, it will have the prompt, and then the flow plugin, and then it would also have the connector plugin, and then there are different things which are being associated with that. And when you go to Copilot and plugins, then there are different plugins which are being there as well. Um, which are being there as well. Like, when you have the plugins being added, then you can uh, connect it to a similar case um,
Hi, Bhargavi. I think we can't hear you.
is it okay now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So, what I was telling was like when we want to connect it via Dynamics 365, or when you want to connect it to a Power Automate or even the Salesforce plugin. So those are available inside the Copilot Studio, and you can have the things that what you want to perform being added, and you can have that particular thing being added inside your Copilot Studio. So when you want to have the plugin discovery and execution being done, then you will be having the idea being added, and you will be having like um there are different database that what you can store your data, and then plug in connectors, so you can use different layers, and of whichever you want to perform the data on, you will be having the details to get added on. And when you I mean I'm not going in deep of this thing, so we will be covering the most part on the demo part, where when you go inside the Copilot Studio, then it would be like, sorry. So it would be like when you are about to have the Copilot Studio being added, then you will be having an extent where it would be allowing you to create the agents in the easier form. Like, say, in case when you want to develop an agent, then you will be navigating inside the Copilot Studio, and inside the Copilot Studio, there will be an um, option which should be having like where you will be having an option to create the different agents which are being available, and then you will also have the option which are from the template, um, and then you can also create it from the scratch as well. If you are already into the um, Power Virtual Agent, then this particular Copilot Studio is kind of like an enhanced version, um, and that would be allowing you to create the Copilot Studio versions like chatbots, and then you can create your own agent as well there. So there are different things that what you want to do on.
We just lost your audio, I think, Bhargavi.
Uh, Sorry, Chirag, it's actually raining here, so not sure if my network is
Sure.
okay.
No, that's all right. No problems. You're doing good, and I appreciate the conditions there. But no, you're doing good. Please carry on. I will just let you know when we do lose some audio, but you're good. Crack on. Thanks.
Okay, great. So, what we would be doing is like when we click on create, and we do have different options which are being there, right? So, when we have that, then we will have different kind of the options which are being available. Like, when you click on each of these, then you do have an option to add in the description, instruction, so whatever which are available under the AI Foundry, right? So you do have the option to add in all those here as well. Like the regular way of creating in the description instruction, then you can add in here as well. Like you can give the instruction, and then you can also give the description. So it would be allowing you to create all those things. And then when you maybe let us go to the sample agent that what we have created so far. And we will see how to configure it so that we will get to know what it is. Like when we have the agent being added and the description is also being given and the instruction should be given. And knowledge is something like when you want to have the knowledge base been added, like your PDF, or that can be of something like Word file, CSV, that can be of anything. So when we want to add in here, we can add that over. And then when we are all done with that, then when you click on create, right? So what it would be doing is like it would be creating the agents for yourself. Earlier, about 2 weeks ago, there was just the GPT models which are being available. But now the agent has provided you with different models that what you can select with. Like there are different models which are available. Say in case like there are GPT, like as I said, it's GPT models which are being available, and there are Claude models which are also available, where you can use the same when you are having the features which are being enabled by like it's kind of like a premium version right now, and it's been under the preview for now. And when you have it enabled, then it's been available. So you can also use the same. So when you are proceeding with other things like the knowledge that what we gave at the starting, right? So we can add in the knowledge here as well. And whenever you want to add in the file processing and other things as well, then you can come here and you can add that over there as well. Now that you have created a agent for yourself, it has been here, like the one that what we had created. So what we can, it's the same thing, like when you want to add an a website or something, then you will be clicking on here. Maybe let me add the Microsoft Q&A part here, such that it would answer the questions which are being available to you, and it will be the giving you the response based on the same as well. Like it would be accepting just the two root down alone, and it would be getting added to the agent. So when you add that to the agent, then it gets created. And then what happens is like you can add in the agent here. And when you want to create a tool or a different agent to be added, say in case like when you want it to be a multi-model, then you can come in here and you can add the different agents which are being available, and you can get the same connected as well. And when you want to add your own agent, like your own model that what you wanted to connect on, then you will be adding the agent here. And then why does the agent being created for, and what knowledge that what it has to do. And inside the tool, you will be having an option to have the different agents which are being available. Say in case like when you want to add the connection being established, like you do have an option to add in the connection here, like you do have the not connected, right? So you should be having the similar access that what you have with your agent service foundry along with this particular one, and your agent service will get connected. And then you can add your agents to this agent here. So what now you can do is like once you have added the agent that what you have created, you now can navigate inside the portal.azure.foundry. Sorry, you would be navigating to the Azure Foundry, and then once you are able to have the things being the like model being created for you, then you will be using all those things, like you can create a model for yourself here. So we are just going with step by step method so that you would understand the process in a easier way, and you would get to know things on how does it work. So what we are doing here is like we are creating a AI Foundry resource here, and such that it would be we can navigate the same inside the AI Foundry, and there we can create a model, and we can create the instruction, or we can even create a agent that what we want to develop on, and from that we can add the same thing being added inside the Copilot Studio. So now that we have created a model inside the now that we have created a resource inside the AI Foundry, and once we have created a resource, what we can do is like we can navigate to the model. Now the deployment is still in progress, so let it get finished with the deployment, and once it's done, we can navigate to the AI Foundry, and from there it can come back and it can um, create the resource that what we want to develop on. So the resource is now created. Let us navigate into that. Just getting loaded. Just that my internet is a bit slow.
Just while that's happening, Bhargavi, can I quickly ask a question? There's a question in the chat. Do we know when
Okay.
multi-agent orchestration is out of preview?
Okay. Multi-agent is inside the Copilot Studio. Is
Yeah,
that
so
inside the
you
Copilot?
ran through yes, that's right. So it's currently in preview, right? Do we know? I mean, I don't know personally when it's
Even
going to
I
be out of
don't know.
preview. Yeah, I think it's a Microsoft roadmap thing. Isn't it? Okay, no
Yeah.
worries. You carry on, please. Thanks.
Okay. So when we navigate inside the AI Foundry, then we do have an option to add in the agent, which has been available here. And when you want to add the different model that what you want to create on, then you can create a agent with a deployed version of what you wanted to have, and like the with the model that what you wanted to have, and once you are done with that, then it would be like it would be like the agent will be created here, and that agent can be linked in this one. Like you can navigate it, or you can ask the agent to see whether the message is received. So those kind of actions can be made to perform here. So let us let us see how do we create and deploy a model here in this. So say in case you are deploying a model, and once you have deployed a model, once you have deployed a model, right? No, I haven't spoken. So we have deployed a model now. What we can do is like we can go back to the Copilot Studio, and inside the Copilot Studio, what we would be doing is like we will be connecting the agent which are available. Like you have the list agent which has been available, and once your list agent has been available, you can add in the Foundry service that what you have added, and with that what response that what it has to do, and you will be giving it a different description, like what action that what it has to perform on, and it would be answering based on the agent that what it has to proceed on. Now that we have took the example of Microsoft Q&A service, right? So we also have the agent which has been created inside the AI Foundry as well. And we also have connected the agent here inside the Copilot Studio. Now, when we have integrated both of those, let us see like how does it work when we start typing in and when we are getting in the response. Like when we ask something which is there inside the Q&A, like something to be of, let's say the same Q&A example that what we have here, and let us try it out. So what it would be doing is it would get started, and once it gets started, right, it would be creating a plan and other things where it would be reviewing the resources, and then it would check for the agent that what it has created inside the um, AI Foundry, and then it would be giving you back the response based on the format that what you have expected. So the major step that what you would be doing as part of the connection is like you will be enabling the agent which has been available here inside the addition of the connection by adding in the connection here with the AI Foundry resource. And once you are done with that, then you will be adding in the agent which are being available. So it is for Q and P. So we are adding in the description, and then whatever the knowledge base that what you wanted to have on, it would be getting added. And then once it's all done, you will be checking, and you can see like it had navigated and it had went through the Copilot Studio, from the Copilot Studio to the AI Foundry, and from there it had added the agent and retrieved you and got that back over here. So I hope you have learned on how do we create the agent inside the Copilot Studio as a basic part. And then you also learned about like how are we getting this list agent to be getting connected with the help of the AI Foundry, and that would be helping you in adding the different kind of the agent which are being created inside the AI Foundry being added here. So if at all you want to connect in different way, then what we can do is like we will be adding the new flow here, which is something to be like let us call something something to be of the power, where what we would be doing is we have the endpoints which are being available inside the AI Foundry here, right? So when you have created a resource, now that you want to consume it, so what you would be doing, you would be consuming this particular URL along with the key which has been available here, a little above. So you will be having the endpoint here along with the key which has been available. And once you have got that, then what you would be doing is you will be clicking on with the HTTP, and with that HTTP response that what you want to add, you will be adding in the URL along with the key, and with that you will be added with the data that what you want to add on, and from that you can retrieve that as well. So there are two different methods that what you can prefer on to get your AI agents being added here. But my suggestion would be something like when you want to add the agent inside this one, right? So what you can do is you can give the give that to be like your HTTP method so that it gets your agent to be created soon, or you can use that as well, like once you had published and once you had given the key and other thing. Just that I don't want to disclose my key, we are not passing it here. Like once we have created the URI, we will also be giving the body along with that. We will be giving the content and other things, and then we will also be creating an action on what it has to proceed, like whether it has to reply back to the agent, or it has to give the run or prompt, or process the document, or what it has to do with, it would be deciding, and it would be giving you the result based on the same. So you will be publishing it. And once you had published it, right, so you can come back to the agent. I'm not saving it. So you will be come back to the agent, and from there you will be saving it. Like you will be coming back to the agent, and from that you will get an option to add the agent, or you can have the automate flow also. Not here inside the tools, you do have an option to add the different kind of the connector that what you want to add, like the flow will be available, and with that flow you can get it connected. Since we haven't saved, it is not available, but once you had saved it, right, so it would be available here, and you can use the same, or you can create a new one here with the flow that what we have created earlier. So with that, like maybe let's see an comparison of when do we use a studio or when do we use a foundry, right? So both has multi-models and both has models being available in it, and when do we want which one is something that we want to decide. So when you have the Copilot Studio, it you have the low code no code being available, so you can use that. And whenever you want to have a limited requirement that needs to be done, then you will be choosing on with the prompt flow, and Copilot Studio will be supporting all those. All the business case will be supported with the Copilot Studio, while the complex and the advanced developments can be done with the help of the AI Foundry, and you can have the different agents being created there, like what we saw right now, and you can connect the same inside the Copilot Studio as well. So there are different ways when you want to integrate that, and when you want to combine all those, you will be doing everything together, and you will be having the setup being done for you, and with that you can do the codings to an even more higher level that what you want to achieve on. Like if the Copilot just supports you for business user, then combining the same with AI Foundry, you can use that for the advanced development as well. And you can even more, I mean, you can do even more a better job with what requirement that what you have. So with that, um, if there are any questions which are being there, I would be happy to answer that up.
Great session, Bhargavi. I think to try and cover those different technologies and workloads, I think is not an easy thing to do. And thank you so much for taking us through that and showing us how you build the agent in Copilot Studio and then going over to the Azure AI Foundry. And yeah, I mean, it's quite a lot. So I really appreciate that. And I also fully understand it's late in India right now and the conditions you described. So it is the technology, so it's only as good as, we do that. But yeah, so don't worry about that. I guess, yeah, any questions from anybody? I know Richard asked the question earlier. Any thoughts from anybody else? Any comments? You can always unmute yourself too if you don't want to type it in. No. Okay, silence is a good thing sometimes, I think. But yeah, I think Bhargavi might, obviously she might disappear because obviously it's late, but yeah, if you can keep an eye on the chat, if you're able to, just in case if anybody comes back after to ask any questions. But I do want to thank you for taking the part, really appreciate. Thanks for joining M365UK on this one. So we'll start.
Thank you, Chirag.
We'll start to do this. I think actually, yeah, one question has come through from Sahid. Like to confirm when the knowledge base has been added.
Yeah, we have added the knowledge base when you check with the knowledge, right? So you will be having in the knowledge base, like even the URL is considered to be a public knowledge base, and you can have the knowledge being added for that. So it would be kind of like giving you the way of adding. It's not just the Word or Excel, means the knowledge base inside the Copilot Studio. We can also add in the public URL. We just gave in the knowledge base there. And I mean, we just gave in the URL, and that URL was taken as the knowledge base, and it tried to load everything. So maybe let me share for a quick thing and show you what it had happened. Like when you see here, right? So we have added the knowledge base here. So it is like we had just given the root folder of the learn.microsoft.com alone, and even in the part that what it's been tested, maybe let us ask the same question which has been there, and it would try to retrieve and give you. So when you click on with this, right, so it is trying to search the resources. From this itself, you can know that, like, it had went through the knowledge base and it had retrieved the data from the knowledge base. Like you will also have the references, and all the references will be off only from the Q&A which has been there. When you open that, you can see like it has been there only from the learn.microsoft.com. So the knowledge base works in that manner.
Yeah, that's the power of all the content, isn't it? On the websites and everything. So
everything is from Microsoft.
Great.
That answered your question.
Yeah, no, I think it does. You can add more sources to it, so it's good. I've put the link in the chat for everybody. If you don't mind filling out the feedback form for Bhargavi, that'll be great. And I see Sahid has got his hand. Yeah, go ahead, Sahid.
Sorry, it's just my background is a bit noisy because I'm on the road. That's why.
That's
But
all right.
I just wanted to what I wanted to clarify. I understand that when you put the knowledge base, it kind of links it to get the answer. What I want to know is, as part of the whole configuration, does it learn more like, okay, for example, someone asks a question that is not maybe part of the knowledge base, or um, someone asks a question, does it learn to get some information from other sources that you have not specifically stated, or is that a totally different process on its own? That's my question, actually.
Yeah, I got that. Bhargavi, did you get that?
Voice was kind of breaking, not
Yeah,
sure.
that's okay. I can play back.
Uh,
I can repeat the question. So the question was
okay.
asked that unless you define the knowledge sources like the website URL, but if you ask a question that doesn't exist in that knowledge,
Okay.
then can you get that answer?
Yeah, it would be getting that answer. Like what challenge that what you would be facing is like it would be having the details with, I mean, you do have the generative AI capability being there for your chatbot, right? So it would answer, but on its own, it would try to answer. Like referring the regular Bing searches that what it
Yes.
can have. So it would be replying you back based on that. But when
Okay.
you try to specify the specific link, right? So what it does is it would be checking only on that specific link and will not search on the regular Bing that what it does on a regular way. So that's the
Right.
whole difference that what it's been there.
Sure. Sure. I hope that answers the question for you, Sahid. So yeah, you'll probably get very generic response if it's not specific knowledge, I guess. So hopefully that becomes a bit of a improvement when you do find out, what's the quality of this response like. Then hopefully you can start to, add more sources. But yeah, I saw the thumbs up, so that's good. Good. Any questions from anybody else? No? Okay. Well, in that case, Bhargavi, I will let you go. Once again, many thanks for being here, and for the attendees. I hope you found that useful, and thanks for filling out the feedback if you've already done so. If not, please do that. It will be the same link for the next few sessions. So that'll be appreciated. So, all right. Well, look, I think let's welcome our second speaker, Cynthia Akiotu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right there, Cynthia. Okay, good to know. So Cynthia is going to be presenting us with, again, taking the topic a bit further, but now looking from a different angle, which is more from the security perspective. And you've done a lot of work, as I understand it, from Cynthia, on the purview and all the other technologies for the compliance and security. So really interested in seeing this session, which basically looks at all the things around how you can go about organizing your data properly, I guess, to make it more productive. So yeah, with that, I'll hand it over to you, Cynthia. Go for it.
So I need the permission to share.
I knew you were going to say that. And I thought I had done this work before, and you think, there we go. It's all right. I didn't. So that's my bad. And I've just made you a presenter. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Perfectly well. Absolutely. And we can see your screen too. So yes, all yours. Thank you.
Okay. So it's an honor to be here today. I'm Cynthia Akiotu, a cybersecurity architect, basically with experience across identity and access management, data security as well. I'm a Microsoft certified information security administrator and a Microsoft certified identity and access administrator. So I enjoy speaking as well, engaging with people, and also sharing my knowledge. So today I'm going to be talking about governing Microsoft 365 Copilot the right way. So from productivity to protection. So I know lots of us are very conversant with Microsoft 365 Copilot, using it in various ways. So we'll be looking at how to govern Microsoft 365 Copilot to ensure that it is trustworthy and compliant in our organization. So I will be starting with how do we balance productivity and protection. So basically, everyone has a role to play in governing Microsoft 365 Copilot. Everyone, including the end user. The end user is always eager to know how the data is or our data is being used. Can the end user trust Copilot not to expose confidential content? Is our security controls going to hamper the process or my process while working? The CISO is after knowing whether sensitive information, sensitive data is secured and not exposed, and ensuring that the whole process is compliant. Why the CTO is after productivity. So now, with looking at the use of Microsoft 365 Copilot, we have to create that balance to ensure that why using Microsoft 365 Copilot to ensure productivity, it is properly governed and protected. My next question will be, you can just drop it in the chat. How are you using Microsoft 365 Copilot in your organization currently? Are you still exploring the use of Microsoft 365 Copilot? Are you in the pilot phase or watching if other organizations will survive using it? Because now all we hear is AI leakage, data exposure, and all that. Microsoft 365 Copilot is making our process seamless and making our work become more productive, right from even creating presentations using PowerPoints, summarizing our meetings, transcribing meetings, and giving summaries in Teams, and also in Outlook as well, summarizing messages. Or what about documents when you use your Microsoft 365 Copilot to give you summary or insight on a document with over 500 pages, which saves a lot of time. So everything about Copilots, every Copilot interaction starts with your data in the organization. We have it embedded in Microsoft 365 from your Outlook, Word, Excel, SharePoint, and all. As a security personnel and a cybersecurity architect, I always like to look at things from the security angle. And basically, with the innovation of AI, as well as incorporating Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and any other AI, we have identity risk, AI leakage, and data exposure, with organizations complaining or executive having issues and fear that sensitive data will be leaking through generative AI tools, inclusive of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So from the risk perspective, we have to look at ways to ensure that Microsoft 365 Copilot does not become a loophole for data exposure and AI leakage. So we are going to start first of all by understanding how to mitigate this risk using identity security. How do we strengthen identity security while using Microsoft 365 Copilot? I would also like to state that Microsoft 365 Copilot exposes our data, and our misconfigurations. So basically, Microsoft 365 Copilot doesn't invent loopholes on its own. It only exposes whatever misconfigurations we have in our systems. So the first thing will be to ensure that there are proper policies in place. Using identity now is like the new perimeter, by ensuring that we have good conditional access policies, like ensuring that from the SharePoint you use to the OneDrive, there are policies in place, like enforcing multi-factor authentication. And also for admins, there's the need for privilege identity management. You need that one time. Do you give them standing role access or just in-time access? And another entry point is the devices. So we have to ensure devices are properly managed, like leveraging the use of Microsoft Intune and Microsoft Defender for Endpoint by enforcing app protection policies on Office apps, and also monitoring the health and status of devices by ensuring those devices are compliant before accessing Microsoft 365 Copilot on Microsoft 365 Office Suite as well. I will now ask a question. Basically, one of the challenges I highlighted was fear of data exposure. So bringing it down to Microsoft 365 as a whole, what could be the cause of data exposure in our ecosystem? First, we'll talk about public or broad site visibility or over permissive sharing defaults. Like, for example, having your site privacy, your SharePoint site privacy set to public. Another good example is having your default sharing options set to everyone. So everyone has access. When you share that document, everyone has access to that document. So also Microsoft 365 Copilot, we also surface that document. Another good one is when you have sites and files without sensitivity labels. So these files are not properly labeled. You don't know if they are confidential. They are not properly protected. There are no controls. So since there are no controls on those files, when Copilot information, you request an information on Microsoft 365 Copilot, even if that document, let's say a payroll information, is supposed to be confidential, as long as it is not properly labeled, Microsoft 365 Copilot will surface those documents, and for anybody, irrespective of whoever has access to it. So even maybe an ordinary employee who is not in HR would have access to those documents. A good example is also when we have broken permission inheritance. You have a SharePoint site set to private, but files, someone share a file in that SharePoint site. Let's say there's a document to an external person. So that's like having broken permission inheritance. A good example also is when you make use of the use of everyone except the external user domain group. So the file is also surfaced to everyone. So also Microsoft 365 Copilot, we have access to those documents. That's why I said here that Copilot doesn't create new risk. It actually reviews the existing ones. It reviews the misconfigurations and the loopholes we have in our Microsoft ecosystem. Now let's look at how we can mitigate against data exposure in Microsoft 365. I'll start with using SharePoint Advanced Management. I don't know if anybody has, I'm sure most of us might be or may not be conversant with SharePoint Advanced Management. So basically, one of the major issues we have as an organization is content sprawl, content moving around the ecosystem without proper governance. So what SharePoint Advanced Management is for is basically to manage our content, manage the content lifecycle, and also manage the permissions and access of this content. basically SharePoint Advanced Management helps to detect inactive sites. So when deploying Microsoft 365 Copilot, I've observed that most organizations do not have that proper structure in place. So for example, when your documents are not properly labeled, and another good one is when we have abandoned, if we check our, if you're a security person in charge of Copilot or about to deploy Copilot, I will advise you to do like a housekeeping to check sites, active sites, inactive sites in your organization. And you might be surprised that there are a lot of redundant SharePoint sites that are not even active anymore. So what SharePoint Advanced Management does, it surfaces those inactive or duplicate sites and also gives you that advantage of conducting site access reviews, where the SharePoint Advanced Management can now send messages to these site owners to review if the site is still required or not. So you can automate site and file retention. Another good thing about this SharePoint Advanced Management is the ability to run data access governance reports, where you can see the number of sharing links of a particular SharePoint site. Then with that, you can also block download policies to protect sensitive information. So this sensitive information or data won't be downloaded as well. And it also gives you that right to be able to manage site admins, manage the SharePoint sites and all. I'm going to also talk about the restricted content discovery for SharePoint. So a good way before deploying Microsoft 365 Copilot, I always advise for organizations to limit your SharePoint sites from being discoverable by Copilot until you have done the proper labeling of sensitive documents or documents in your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So what restricted content discovery does is it hides this site from tenant-wide search. So if assuming I want to search for a site, once it is on restricted content discovery and I put it on search, as long as I do not have permission to that site previously, the site will not surface for me. So it does not alter your permission. So if you have access to that site, you always have access to the site. So it only alters the visibility. So when you search for it, like someone like me, I will say I don't have access and I decide to search for that site, I won't find it on the search. So that's the best way to hide high-risk sites or sites that contain sensitive documents from your tenant, so it doesn't surface before you have done the proper classification and also labeling of your documents. So the next, after looking at SharePoint Advanced Management, I like to look at SharePoint Advanced Management is basically for your content management across your OneDrive. But with that, you need that visibility of your conducting data risk assessments and all. So this is where Microsoft Purview data security for posture management for AI comes into play. So it's basically there to conduct assessment of AI used in your organization. So now we are going to be streamlining it to Microsoft 365 Copilot. It discovers sensitive data in your organization, so it can discover sensitive SharePoint sites, give you assessment of sites that are not labeled, and also gives you that opportunity to be able to classify those sites or even restrict assets of those sites. And you can also apply data loss prevention and restricted discovery, which I have explained earlier. So it gives you that proactive way of managing data within your Microsoft ecosystem rather than being reactive. So the next we'll look at, the first one is the data risk assessment. Maybe I will show that after, but my tenant is pretty new, so you may not be able to see enough data on that. So for the data risk assessment, you can conduct a custom risk assessment or start with the normal data risk assessment. So what it does a weekly risk assessment across your top 100 SharePoint sites. It gives you statistics of those sites and tells you this site has sensitive labels, this site do not have sensitive labels, and also tells you a recommendation or either to incorporate or to labeling on those sites, or conduct restricted access controls and all. And you can also apply DLP policies, that is data loss prevention, to remediate oversharing in your organization. With data risk assessment, you can also track your insights, track assessment of your data, because it's giving you insights into your sensitive information, those that are labeled, those that are not properly labeled, and giving you recommendations right there and then. So that is what the data risk assessment for DSPM for AI is all about. I won't talk about data risk assessment without also talking about DLP and insider risk. Like I said earlier, one of the major challenges we are having with the use of artificial intelligence and Microsoft 365 Copilot is oversharing of data, getting data into the wrong hands, or someone without the right permission accessing information. So also, Copilots also surface such information if there are no proper guardrails in place. So the first is data loss prevention. Data loss prevention basically prevents sharing of data, intentional or either accidental sharing of data in the organization. So let's assume we create a policy, a data loss prevention policy, that states that if this financial document is confidential, while someone tries to paste it on Copilot, it should not be able to paste that document. So that is a data loss prevention policy. And with insider risk combined, you can easily detect and respond to risky user behavior. So using activity signals to check if there are behaviors that are, for example, an employee who is exiting the organization might just be probably not in a happy mood and decide to download documents, change the sensitivity, downgrade the sensitivity label, or just to get those information out of the organization. So with DLP and insider risk working hand in hand, you can easily get these reports and correlate them within Microsoft Purview. And the good thing about insider risk is you can make it adaptive, which is the best way to make use of insider risk, making it adaptive based on user risk. So for example, it might not just be the user. Let's assume the identity of the user has been compromised. So with adaptive security responses, once you can set different thresholds, such as when the user risk is elevated, to block the user from accessing Copilot. That way, information, it won't surface information on Copilot. So it is basically using your AI correlation and pattern recognition to implement policies in your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So it helps to balance that productivity and risk mitigation. It doesn't just stop when the user risk is low, it won't block your activity. So it ensures that everything works hand in hand. When the user risk is elevated, you can set that policy to block this user from either downloading documents and all. So another one that most organizations or organizations ask are, should they enable Copilot web search? So Microsoft 365 Copilot, we have the web search. Either as a user, if your organization enables it, you can either toggle it on or toggle it off. With web search, like we talk about productivity, if you are in a department that works with recent information, let's say merger and acquisition, and you want to get insights into the organization you want into an organization you want to acquire. Let's say you want current financial insights. It's always better to have web search enabled so you can easily search for timely information, recent information. When web search is not enabled, you are not giving recent information. Most times you have information based on your training, based on the training data and all. So with web search, you can, as an admin in your organization, you can enable it to give, maybe just give granular access to a particular group of people in your organization. And with web search, when you are searching using the web search, it doesn't surface the identity of the user searching any information. So I think that's one of the fear most organizations have. Oh, if we enable web search, they're going to be able to have access to the identity. No, what web search, Copilot web search does, it only gives access to the prompt in which the user is requesting for, and it doesn't surface the identity of the user. With Microsoft Purview eDiscovery, you can also track the prompts that the user sends using Copilot web search. So it's easy to check these queries, see the prompt used, the prompt response, reply, and everything. As well, you can also use DLP for Copilot to prevent summarizing or sensitive of this information, or even downloading or pasting information on Copilot web search as well. So with Purview brings that transparency, and it ensures that, making sure that you are being productive while also balancing the protection side of it. So with this, I would like to say that Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot only surfaces our misconfigurations, the loopholes we have in our system. It doesn't just generate loopholes. So if we do not have properly labeled documents, proper governance like site governance, your SharePoint site governance, proper site lifecycle in place, it will surface all these loopholes in Copilot. I always tell people that Microsoft Copilot is that teammate in your organization who is very confident in even talking about your mistakes. So it surfaces every problem within your system, but at the same time, it's also very good for productivity. So to be able to balance productivity and protection, it's good to have good data governance in place, inclusive of your data loss prevention, insider risks, proper identity and access management. So I've showed you like samples, like how you can leverage mitigating this risk using SharePoint Advanced Management and Microsoft Purview Data Security Posture Management for AI. So I would like to say that productivity thrives when protection is built in, and it also gives us that trust. So Microsoft 365 Copilot is here to make us productive, save time, but at the same time, we need to have proper guardrails in place to manage our information within our ecosystem. So thank you. Let me just see if I can show my tenant, but it's pretty new. And so I'm here on the SharePoint Admin Center. And here, this is where you see the data access governance report. So you can see sharing links. You can.
Sorry, Cynthia. I think your other screen is not shared.
Okay.
You can just see your slides, the PowerPoint file. So that's all right. Just stop sharing.
Okay.
A good session so far. Like it. You covered very good the key capabilities. But yeah, we can see your screen now. Great.
Okay. So just going to show the SharePoint Admin Center, what it looks like. So basically here, this is where I talked about the data access governance report. you can see with this, you can view reports of sharing links, but particularly identifying potential for oversharing by monitoring sites. So you can monitor links shared, sharing links. And once you see those links, if they are sensitive documents, you can go back and create policies. So maybe a restricted access policy to restrict it to just permitted users and all. With sharing, viewing the sharing link, you can also see broken permission inheritance, see documents where sensitivity, view reports of where sensitivity labels are applied. For this one, this is the SharePoint Advanced Management. You need a license, a pro license, which I don't have, but it shows you what's included, basically, like I've highlighted or stated before: site lifecycle management, data access governance reports, conditional access policy, and all. So let's see. Okay. Let me go to the Microsoft Power View. I think it's still the same. Okay, that's fine. Let me reshare again. Okay, so this is a Microsoft Power View, basically for data governance, security, compliance, all in one. So this is where I talked about the data security posture management for AI. So basically with this, you can conduct, it does this weekly data risk assessment where you see the top sites that has, you see your top sites, and it can give you top 100 SharePoint sites. And you can from there click to be able to see those, maybe conduct, if the site has an issue, you can do like a restricted access control or restricted content delivery, and also auto label your site as well. A good thing about this now, you now have apps and agents. So with apps and agents, you can also see here, we have Microsoft 365 Copilot. So assuming I had the data on Microsoft 365 Copilot, it can now take me, on using Microsoft 365 Copilot, these are the SharePoint sites that Microsoft 365 Copilot has accessed, for example. And you can also check if these sites are sensitive sites ordinarily that shouldn't be surfaced in Copilot, and you can implement policies to ensure that it doesn't surface using Microsoft 365 Copilot anymore. Then we have different solutions in Microsoft Purview from the data lifecycle management, and notably the one I hammered on was insider risk management and data loss prevention. So data loss prevention to ensure that documents are not shared unnecessarily. People with the right access can share those documents, and insider risk management to check any suspicious activities of users as well. So Copilot doesn't just ordinarily surface any document. So it surfaces your loopholes. Whatever you tell Copilot to do, it does it for you. So that's why you need to have good guardrails, good policies in place. And luckily, Microsoft has given us tools to help us do that, from your SharePoint Advanced Management to Microsoft Purview as well. So thank you.
Excellent, Cynthia. That was good. Good bit of demos there. I think there was a couple of questions. I think I know Machi asked regarding the restrictive content discovery side of things.
Okay.
I don't know if you got access to the chat. If you just have a read, I think there was the question was alluding more towards that. I'll let you read. Sorry.
I think I'll just skip that. Where is it? Oh, can you read it from my eyes? Okay. Okay. So if I have access to the document on the site that is behind restrictive content, then Copilot will not be able to search or code that document. Okay. So the question is, like I said, it doesn't affect your permission. It only affects the visibility. So if restricted content discovery is enabled and you already have permissions to access those documents, it will surface on Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's going to reference that document. But if you do not already have that permission, even when you even search for that doc site, you won't be able to see it. So it doesn't restrict your permission. It basically restricts visibility. So let's say there are two people who asked the question. Okay. Marcia, sorry, I don't know if I pronounced the name right. So let's say Marcia has access ordinarily to the document previously, access to the site previously, and Cynthia does not have access. When Marcia checks access the doc, Marcia still has that permission to access that document, and Copilot can access it on behalf of the identity of Marcia. But since Cynthia doesn't have access ordinarily before, when I try to even search that site, is not going to surface at all for me. So it will be like the site is not in existence. So I don't know if I've answered the question.
Well, so I'm kind of magic here. Yeah, so I'm still trying to kind of understand it. So I've got access to the site that, let's say, that has a document, and then I query the Copilot.
Yeah.
Would Copilot see that document or not?
So basically, okay, Copilot is going to receive that document if you already have permission or access to the site.
Yeah. Even if it's behind the RCD. So the RCD doesn't change anything here, and because I, as a user, have access, my Copilot would have access to that knowledge as well, or to that document.
So if I will get your question right, if you have access to the site previously, you have the access and permission to access that particular site. Copilot can access it when you ask a question to reference that particular site. But if I don't have access ordinarily before, so before, generally, when you search for the site, anybody can search and see it. As long as I do not have access to that site, when I try to search for it, I won't even find it anymore.
Well, but that's so what's the role of the RCD,
the best
right?
way
So
will be
if the user doesn't have access, then they wouldn't have access. The Copilot wouldn't have access to that document, whether it's behind the RCD or it isn't, right?
Sorry, what do you say?
So if we're talking about Maciej and Cynthia, and say Maciej, and the site is behind the RCD, and Maciej asks about a document from the site, that I will get an answer, and Cynthia will not, right? But so what's the role of the RCD? You know, if Cynthia didn't have access to that site in the first place, then she wouldn't be able to access that document in the first place, right? So
the essence of RCD is basically for, especially when you want to deploy, we want to deploy Copilot. So blocking these sites from visibility. So that's the essence. So let's say we are looking for a site, we are searching for those sites. So it's just like hiding those sites from the general eyes. You won't be able to see that site. So that's the essence.
Yeah, maybe if I could add here as well, Maciej, I think, and Cynthia. So let's say you have a SharePoint site. Typically, you have a site owners, security group. You got your site members, in some cases, site visitors, depending on the type of site. But if you have any individuals which you might have given some explicit permissions to that site, the RCD will pretty much put it back to site members, site owners, the default security groups, right? And therefore, everybody else who might have had this oversharing permissions, they will be kind of revoked from it. So in that sense, the Copilot will still surface the files within that site for the respective members and the owners of that site. But anybody else, before you activated that RCD on that site, they will lose that, and therefore they will never be able to surface the Copilot responses, if that makes sense. So you're kind of tidying up permissions at the high level.
Yeah, muted. I think he's saying something.
Sorry. Yeah, so it kind of makes sense. I was just wondering how exactly it works, because I assume that RCD is kind of telling Copilot, you just don't look at that side of the internet or that side of SharePoint. Just you're not aware of it, and you don't care about if Maciej has access to it or not. You, as a Copilot, should not be accessing that site. But from what I'm hearing, that's not necessarily how RCD works.
No, it's going to look at your permissions as an individual who's running the Copilot to do that. So all it's doing, as it is doing, is I can see Rashmi, who's another MVP. I think she's probably typing a response, so I'll let her come through that. But you pretty much kind of, well, I say restriction, hence the name, but you kind of really scoping it back to what's the original set of members and the owners of that site. So you're kind of limiting to that level.
So making it like undiscoverable, let me use that word, for people that do not have permission ordinarily.
Yeah. And I think the other, just to add into the mix, I mean, it's not the only solution, right? You also have other solutions like, say, the sensitivity labels. If you have, let's say, a highly confidential file, and if you do decide to turn on the encryption settings, where you can either assign the permissions or let the users assign the permissions on that encryption of that sensitivity label, then there are some specific permission levels. In particular, there is one that's called copy and extract permission level within that sensitivity label configuration. And that particular one will literally restrict Copilot accessing that file labeled with that sensitivity label. So it goes a bit deeper than the RCD, of course, if you really wanted to restrict.
And there's also the restricted access control as well.
Yeah. So, as ever, with these things, is always sometimes,
the detail, right? The devil is in the detail. But
the devil's in the detail. Exactly. Absolutely. So I think as Rashmi put it down, so RCD will not surface the content, even though user has permissions. Okay, but that's good. And Cynthia, thanks, and I think there's probably, if there's any further questions, this is the opportunity. I would rather have more questions.
I'll drop a link on maybe from the documentation as well here. That might be useful.
Yeah. I'm just looking through the chat, see if there's anything that I've missed out. Don't think I have. Where's the current? I think we're good. I think the third one to add into the mix is the Defender for cloud apps as well, isn't it? If the data is going to go out, you could, on the way out, apply a sensitivity label to it as well. So that can further restrict things as well. So plethora of solutions. All right. Okay. Well, look, I think Cynthia, really appreciate for your time and taking part into the M365UK, and love the session. Good details there, and I'm sure any further questions we may get, people will reach out to you, I'm sure. So thank you for taking your time out as well. So enjoy the rest of the M365UK. Okay, so hopefully everyone's back. Thanks for the earlier sessions we've had from Bhargavi and Cynthia. Two great sessions, some good interactions in the chat as well. So without further ado, pleasure to welcome Fabio Bonolo from Switzerland. Thanks for this point in time taking out, and looking forward to your session, which is all about Copilot, right? How to make it even more better than what we already have. So looking forward to some of the use cases like you described in your session, but also in general, what are you up to with Copilot Studio? So I'm hoping this will be a very last but not least session. So with that, Fabio, I know you've been around a couple of years in the MVP program as well, and I see you at some of the events. So love your passion and all the things you do. So over to you. Take it away and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chirag, for having me. I hope everybody hears me well, perfectly. So I'll just try to share my screen so that we have something to look at here. I do have maybe one or other surprise here ready for you. So when you're talking about the extensibility of Copilot, it's not just Copilot Studio, because there are a lot of possibilities how to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot. But hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for taking the time and listening to my session. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself so that you know who's speaking to you. Then, as I always do in my sessions, I'd like to cover some fundamentals because maybe we have some gaps in other knowledge gaps. I want to cover that first, also some licensing aspects that I want to cover. And then we go into the topic of Copilot connectors, a really great way of extending Copilot. And of course, the world of Copilot agents, that it becomes more and more complex as time grows. And of course, in the end, I've got also some governance topics that I want to cover because, yeah, it's not always easy to keep track on how Copilot is used and extended. And in the end, we should have some time for your questions. So if you have any questions during my session, please feel free to put it in the chat. I will come back at the end of the session to your questions so that we do maybe have some interaction going on. So first of all, my name is Fabio Bonolo. You hear it out from Switzerland. I'm trying not to speak in such a broad accent. I'm trying to adjust myself a little bit. Here you see my QR code. This will lead you to my LinkedIn profile. I'm really active as an MVP there on LinkedIn. Happy to connect. And also feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding collaboration, Copilot, and things like that. I'm happy to help. I'm a team leader of a productivity team at Red IT, a Swiss Microsoft partner. I lead a team of 8 consultants. We're doing everything around Power Platform, Copilot, of course, data governance, and collaboration. I do have my own YouTube channel where I post some learning videos about Copilot and also my blog, Copilot Stories, although it is all in German. So maybe if you don't speak German or don't have a good translation service, this may be nothing for you. But I do also share some content in English, of course. Now, we're not here to talk about myself, right? So we are here to talk about the mission, which is to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot. And to do that, let's cover some fundamentals first. Now, when we talk about the extensibility, we have to talk about what can be extended and what can't be extended. And of course, the first thing that we can extend Copilot with is our data sources, because in many organizations, or in all organizations I know, we have a tool landscape that doesn't just include Microsoft 365. We have an ERP, we have a CRM, we have an HR system, and so on. And with these data sources, we can extend Copilot, and I will show you afterwards how. We do have some basic automation possible in Copilot Studio Full Experience with something that is called tools. Also there, the basic automation is not only limited to the Microsoft 365 tools, but also from other external softwares where we can automate Copilot. And of course, there is the world of Copilot agents where we can build our agents through different user interfaces for specific use cases. Then what we cannot extend when we are talking about the extensibility of Copilot is we cannot change or extend the large language model of Copilot itself. We also cannot configure the orchestration or multi-agent orchestration on how Copilot reacts in certain ways. We can do that, of course, when we build custom engine agents, but when we are talking about to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot, there we have limits, and this is not possible. And also, we don't have, even in the Copilot Studio Full Experience, when we are extending Copilot, we have no possibilities of use advanced automation, for example, Power Agent Flows or Power Automate. Of course, again, when we are building custom engine agents in Copilot Studio, we do have these kind of capabilities. And topics is also one. Maybe some of you guys know the Power Virtual Agents from many moons ago. There's some kind of path that you build a keyword-based path on how Copilot or how the agent should interact or should react on a certain group of keywords that the user puts in. Also here, it is possible in custom engine agents, but not configurable when extending Copilot. Now, there are 3 types of the Copilot extensibility. This is an official naming of Microsoft, is Copilot Extensibility. There are also some release notes and an official Learn documentation. And here we have 3 types that we are talking about. We have declarative and custom engine agents, so capabilities in the Copilot Studio Lite or full experience. Earlier it was the agent builder, the Copilot Studio Lite, but here we do have some possibilities to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot with agents. Then what I find really, really cool is that Microsoft is investing heavily in agents. So they are developing and configuring and building own so-called out-of-the-box agents that are really ready to use for you guys. So Microsoft puts them on the Agent Store and on the Teams App Store. You can download them or they're already there. Maybe you've heard from the Frontier program that is going on. And this is also a way to extend Copilot. And the third one, and my personal favorite, are the Copilot connectors, because here in a really easy and fancy way, we can connect our external data from our CRM, from our ERP, directly into the Microsoft Graph Index. And why is it my favorite? Because Copilot grounds directly into the Microsoft Graph Index, and every data source that is connected inside this Microsoft Graph, we can use in chat or to build agents. Now let's look at some licensing aspects. This is some confusing topic, especially when you're talking about custom engine agents, but we won't go there for today. We do have 3 kinds of licensing available when using Copilot or when extending Copilot. We do have the pay-as-you-go options, where you don't have to buy the full experience of Copilot. For $30 per user per month, you can set up a pay-as-you-go billing setup for specific users. And also when building declarative or custom engine agents, you can also buy the Copilot Studio credit packs. That means that you get 20,000 credits for $200 per month and per tenant. So you license the whole tenant and not only specific users. Then when you want to use out-of-the-box agents, also here, of course, when buying the Copilot license, it is included. Also, when you have set up pay-as-you-go, you can use out-of-the-box agents. And with Copilot connectors, this is a little bit different because you are indexing the Copilot connector into the Microsoft Search Index. So with a mere Microsoft 365 license, you can use these connectors. But if you want to use them in Copilot Chat or when building agents, you have to set up either pay-as-you-go or the Copilot license. Now, let's dive into the first one a little bit deeper, the Copilot connectors, my personal favorite. Please raise your hand. Who already knows about Copilot connectors and maybe who used them already or configured them? Please raise your digital hand if you have. Okay, Chirag, that's no surprise. Okay, perfect. Now let me surprise you because this is really, really great. So what are Copilot connectors? Maybe you've heard about the graph connectors. They were called for many years graph connectors, and this is external data that we index in Microsoft Graph. And as I said earlier, Microsoft Copilot grounds in the data of Microsoft Graph. So not only in all our SharePoints, OneDrives, OneNotes, etc., but also when we connect our Jira, our, Salesforce, our SAP, we can use it and leverage it in our index. And the good thing about that is we don't need Copilot Studio. We can configure these Copilot connectors directly in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center without low code or pro code. And what I find also really interesting is that also here Microsoft invests heavily. into these connectors because we already have over 100 ready-made connectors from existing partners such as Atlassian, Salesforce, etc. Also, local sources can be connected out of the box, already built in. For example, if you have an SQL database, if you have file servers in place, you can connect your file server to the Microsoft Search Index, and Copilot can ground and use and reference the files that are stored in your local file servers. How great is that? And of course, there are not only those 100 ready-made connectors for you guys. If you have knowledge in APIs and coding, you can build your own so-called custom connectors or Copilot connectors. These are not the same thing as the Power Platform connectors that you may know. So these are different kind of connectors where you have to build also some kind of scheme in the background. You have to build up the semantic index, etc. So it is a little bit complex to build your own Copilot connectors, but it is possible. And last but not least, and that's the biggest advantage in my opinion, these kind of integration adds no extra licensing costs, and it doesn't use up the SharePoint or Microsoft 365 storage. This is always a big thing about using storage, right? We want to use or leverage as many data and documents as possible when using Copilot. So we put everything on SharePoint, and then we have maybe ongoing a problem with the limited storage that we have in SharePoint. And if you use Copilot connectors, extending your external data or integrating your external data, you don't use any storage, and that is some really great stuff. And now I want to show you in a quick live demo how these Copilot connectors work and how they are configured so that you have an idea of what we are talking about here. So I'm sharing right now my browser. You should see my browser and the Copilot app. Is that correct? You see it? Chirag, thank you very much. So I'm here in the Copilot chat. I can prompt anything I want, but I want to show you how the connectors work. So when referencing a file, I can use the \. And then here you see this so-called context IQ, where you can reference all kind of information and data that we have stored in Microsoft 365, such as files, our meetings, emails, etc. And here we have something that is called more, and we have something that is called other. And what do we see here? We see Jira user stories or epics or tasks that I set up in my Jira account as a demo, so that you can see that I can leverage this kind of information in my prompts. So I can configure or I can combine a project documentation, for example, with my tasks in Jira. That is something really, really great and really easy to do. And also what I find really cool, we will look into that later, but I just want to show you when we want to create an agent through Copilot Studio Lite, and we click here on configure the data sources. Here you see Jira as the Copilot connector that I configured in the admin center, and I can build an agent only and specifically with my Jira account or with my data in Jira as a data source. So I build my own agent with Jira and not with anything else that is stored in my Microsoft 365 environment. So it's something really, really great to do. And the question is, how do you configure these agents? Maybe you've heard of the Copilot control system here in the Microsoft Admin Center, and here you have a topic that is called connectors, of course. You have here in the gallery, you see all kinds of pre-built connectors from Microsoft. So you see DevOps, you see Confluence, you see GitHub, you see FileShare, you see Google Drive, Jira Cloud, ServiceNow. Here you can search for more kind of connectors, what you like to do. So here we have a lot of possibility, and of course with this button you can build your own connector. Now here you see that I have tested it a little bit already, but here I have my Jira account, and you have to authenticate yourself, of course, to build it. You can stage the deployment to specific users, so you don't have to enable it to all users. And you have really great possibilities. You see also some kind of statistics, how this works, how many properties have been added. It fetches the data all 15 minutes, so it is really up to date. It is not real time, but 15 minutes is I think it's great. And of course, you have also the visibility and see, and you can granularly set permissions on how Copilot uses this kind of connector. So it is really easy to use, really easy to configure directly in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, a really smooth way to extend our Copilot. Now, let's go into the second topic. The second topic would be the world of Copilot agents, the complex and beautiful world of agents. Now, also here, we do have some different ways of building agents from a technical perspective. So on one hand, we have those out-of-the-box agents that are built from Microsoft that I mentioned earlier. So for your understanding, we are talking here about researcher agent, analyst, maybe the new knowledge agent or the channel agent that have been deployed in public preview 2 weeks ago. These kind of agents are so-called out-of-the-box agents. Now we have the no or low code approach. So we can use Copilot Studio, that is a great low code tool to build your agents, or we can use also SharePoint agents directly from our SharePoint user interface to build our own specific SharePoint agents. And of course, for the developers, there are also several ways. I just put onto the Visual Studio Code, Microsoft Agents SDK. Also here, you can hard code your own agents, but we will focus on these two kinds of extensibility so that we make it also user-friendly. So let's dive into the Microsoft built out-of-the-box agents. So what do they mean? So they are included in the Microsoft Copilot license, each agent, and Microsoft continues to build several agentic experiences. So we are not talking about some kind of chatbot that is integrated into the chat. We are also speaking about agents that are part of our M365 experience. So we have an agent that lies within our Teams channels. We have an agent that you see in the front face of a SharePoint canvas. It's not some kind of chat. It has different capabilities. And Microsoft builds them for different specific kind of use cases to just, enhance the overall Copilot experience so that you guys don't have to build your own agents and think for everybody else. But the thing is, these kind of agents we cannot adjust. So we don't have any possibilities to reconfigure or to extend or to technically adjust these agents. We just can govern them. So we can set permission models. We can set who is available. Is it available? In what way is it available? That we can do. But from a technical perspective, we have no possibility to adjust these kind of agents. Then we have Copilot Studio Lite, the experience that I showed you just a little bit earlier before. So this is just a simple user interface to build your agents. This is especially interesting for power users and not specifically for IT admins. So if you have power users in your organization that want to enhance their experience and want to use Copilot better and more, this is a great way for them to build their own use cases. And as you saw, is that agents from Copilot Studio Lite can use SharePoint and as well Microsoft Graph, the connectors, as knowledge sources. There is no coding required. You can build your agents from scratch just with prompting. So you can prompt Copilot what the agent is called, what use case it has, how it should react, and things like that. And Copilot Studio Lite experience does the configuration in the background. And of course, on the other hand, you have the possibility to configure your agent from scratch. This is Really also from a governance part of view, it inherits all permissions and governance, also topic of sensitivity labels and things like that. So you don't have to set up any kind of governance or permission models for the data sources and for the grounding, just for the availability. And Chirag, you talked about earlier about use cases. In my experience, when I'm talking about or when I'm doing some kind of workshops and trainings with end users, I always say, hey, build yourself a small project agent, bring yourself or build yourself an FAQ to different topics. And for me, also a little onboarding helper when a new employee begins. These are great use cases to use Copilot Studio Lite for. And yeah, also a really interesting or important part, of course, when you build these kind of declarative agents, they're called declarative agents, you can only publish them internally. So in your Microsoft 365 experience, you cannot publish them on, I don't know, Facebook, WhatsApp, on your web page. This is only possible for custom engine agents in the Copilot Studio full experience. Now that's the topic of the next one. So when we are looking into Copilot Studio, you can build your own custom engine agents where you have a lot of possibilities to create your own Copilot. So you can say which large language model should it be, how it should behave, how it should moderate. You can set your own paths, you can set triggers and automations. It's really, really cool. And it requires some knowledge in Power Effects, so in the Power Platform programming language. And the good thing is that you can not only deploy these kind of custom engine agents in your internal experience, you can use or you can choose from various external platforms where to deploy your agent, for example, your customer portal or your web page or something like that. Yeah, that's what I talked. Many configuration and automation options you have. Alternatively, in Copilot Studio Full, you have the Microsoft 365 Copilot that is listed as an own agent, interestingly, and you build own agents into this agent to extend Copilot or Microsoft 365 Copilot. Here, you have some limitations from data sources. So when you build custom engine agent, you can use as many data sources as you want, similar to the Copilot connectors. But when you want to extend Copilot in Copilot Studio Full, you only have SharePoint, Dataverse, and Dynamics. So you cannot leverage external websites or for example, my Jira connector to extend Copilot. And also these kind of agents that you build there, you can only publish them to the Copilot chat and to Microsoft Teams as a Teams app, of course. And the only thing that you can do is you can build basic automation. As I told you in the fundamentals, there are no possibilities to set up triggers or set up advanced automations with Power Automate. So this is really, really restricted because of the basic functionalities that we have within Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now let's look into the demo. I will, of course, again share my browser. The first thing that I want to show you here when we are in the Copilot Studio Lite experience, here you can describe the agent, what it should do. Maybe we can say, hey, I'm a Microsoft MVP and content creator. I want an agent that helps me create content around M365 Copilot, such as blog and social media posts, for example. And then Copilot builds you through or gives you through or gets you through to build this kind of agent. And of course, you see he does it here. Now he asks question, what should the name should be, and he goes through with an interaction and builds and configures the agent in the background. Of course, here on the configure tab, you have the possibility to configure your agent. You can set up a name, a description. You can put in your system prompt in here. You can use the knowledge. So here we have file, sites, and chats. So we are a little bit limited here in the Copilot Studio Lite experiences. I can use code interpreter, etc., and the suggested prompts, and I can easily set up my own agent. Then here on the left side, you see those out-of-the-box agents. So for example, the researcher. Who of you guys used the researcher already? Raise your digital hand. Chirag, Terence, great. Yeah, that's a really great thing. Cynthia also, that's a really great agent for deep reasoning. Although we have GPT-5, which has an automated deep reasoning, researcher was used heavily by a lot of my customers and a lot of my peers for research purposes. And this was really, really great when it came out a few months ago. So this is one of these so-called out-of-the-box agents. Also, for example, the skills agent or the survey agent. This is based on Microsoft Forms, for example. Here you can build your own surveys. For me personally, I think two kind of agents are really interesting, or out-of-the-box agents are interesting. So the first one, I'm in the wrong one. I want to go in this one. Now, I hope the demo gods are on my side. No, they're not. Okay. Then I'll go here. That should work. Or maybe I'll go from here. SharePoint. Let's see. Yeah, this looks good. So I go into the demo site. No, come on. Doesn't want to. Let's go here. Let's see if it locks me in here. And if not, I'll go, here we are. Okay. So one thing is the SharePoint knowledge agent that I wanted to show you, but I can't. And the other thing that I really, really like is the channel agent. So we get a channel agent. I have to see where it is. It is a little bit slow here. I'll just switch to my Teams app. Maybe that will be better. Here we are. The demo gods are not on my side today, I see. Really great. I always like that. So we've got here the teams and channel. I have my project, and here you see the channel agent. So I am in a channel of the demo project, and I can say, hey, with the agent, I can interact directly. He grounds directly in all information and all data that we have stored here in the channel. And for me, the greatest thing is that I can tell him, create a task for planning the next workshop. So we have a direct integration into the Microsoft Planner, which was also always a huge misunderstanding and a huge disadvantage, because you had to buy the Planner premium plans to use Copilot in Planner. And here, right now, you see that the agent gives a reply directly into the thread. I see he creates here a task directly and assigns it to me. I can go here to the task. It opens me my planner, and I see directly the task that Copilot or the channel agent created for me in my planner. That's absolutely great. One great stuff of the out-of-the-box agents that Microsoft is heavily investing in. Now, the other part that I want to show you is the Copilot Studio full experience. And this is this one, copilotstudio.microsoft.com. The good ones of you, the feisty one of you, use this one, because this is the preview environment of Copilot Studio. There we have some things that don't work really good. because it is preview. Now again, I have to log in. I don't like that. That's what I was preparing for earlier, Chirag. So I don't know what's happened here.
You're doing good. You're good. It's just secure by design. You know, it's how it's meant to work.
Yeah, it is. It is like that. Yeah. So better safe than sorry, right? Yeah. So you see, I already built in some agents. So these are custom engine agents. I don't want to go into them. I want to go into that one because we're talking about extending Copilot. So as I mentioned earlier, Microsoft 365 Copilot is an own agent. And as an own agent, I can build several agents on top of Copilot. So that's the really interesting thing. And when we go here into one agent that I use sometimes, is I'm studying right now for a master's degree, and I have stored all my sources, all the literature, all kind of information on my SharePoint, and I built an agent that should help me writing my master thesis. And here you see that I don't have many configuration options. So I have the thing that's called tools. So these are the basic automation configuration possibilities that I have. When I want to add knowledge, you see that I am really not sophisticated and really I don't know the English word. I don't have many possibilities. I've just got SharePoint, Dataverse, and Dynamics, or even though the graph connectors. So here the Chirag graph connector or Copilot connector that I showed you before, here in the control system, it's the same connector that I can use when building or when extending Copilot for the Copilot Studio full experience. I do also have the possibility, of course, to give the system prompt. I can do suggested prompts. So it's more or less the same way that I can do with the Copilot Studio Lite experience, but it is a little bit more advanced because the things like the tools that I can set, I can show you here how that looks. It is some kind of built-in logic that we have. What is the name, and then what we have for inputs? Is it dynamically? Do we have custom values? So here we have some kind of power effects language in it. We have a completion, we have a response or some kind of automation or something that triggers another action or tool. So yeah, here we do have some possibilities that we don't have in Copilot Studio Lite. I do want to show you really quick how it looks when I build a custom engine agent. So you see that this looks already a lot different because here on top I have a lot more configuration possibilities. For example, tools, agents. I can connect other agents to these agents. I can build my topics. I have some kind of reportings and analytics, and the channels, the big one, where I can publish these kind of custom engine agents into Facebook or Twilio or WhatsApp or wherever I want. And here on the settings page, which I didn't have when extending Copilot, I can choose the large language model. I can choose the orchestration. I can set the moderation and how Copilot reacts. I can set some more or less fancy settings on how this agent should behave. This is also some kind of extensibility, not only for Copilot, but it's, in my opinion, a strategic question. Do I want to go to agents, or do I want to have an agentic experience, or do I want to streamline my experience into Microsoft 365 Copilot as possible, or as much as possible? So I'm looking at the time. Chirag, how am I doing? Do I have 20 minutes left, I think? Right? Chirag?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Do I have, how many time do I have left?
You got about 20 minutes.
I've got 20 minutes. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Then we are good in time. Because we have the last topic here that I want to talk about is governance of this kind of extensibility, because we have the governance of agents. So you saw earlier the Copilot control system that I want to show you afterwards again. And here you can enable, disable, assign, block, remove these agents. You can set granular permissions, for example, ownerless controls. So you see later on that some agents of mine are without an owner. You get some notifications, etc. You can set up the granular deployment. You also have or can set up some approval workflows before publishing agents. So when I build a new agent on the Copilot Studio, light or full experience, I can set up that I get a notification in the admin center, so that some user requests to deploy an agent, and me as an IT admin, I don't have to be global admin, I can be AI admin, is called the role, if I'm not mistaken. I can choose if I want to deploy these agents, or if I want to authorize it, or if I want to block it. So these kind of approval workflows are really, really interesting. Also here we don't need global admin, as I said, the AI admin role easily suffices. We have some granular permissions, and also we have the integration of Microsoft Purview, also with some kind of analytics and reportings on how agents are used. We have also, when we have activated e-discovery and audit logs in Purview, we can log all the activities and interactions that users have with all kinds of agents, not only your own build, but also the out-of-the-box and SharePoint agents. Now let's look at the Copilot control system. Again, I'm going here back to my browser. You should see my browser right now. So here the Copilot control system. Here is a little suggestion from my side. Have a good look and stay updated in this area of the admin center, because Microsoft is developing this in a very fast way. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, it looked differently. We had less features, and other features were found in other places of the admin center. So they are moving and building and doing. It is really, really hard to keep up. So I really suggest to keep a good look, good eye on what's happening here in the Copilot control system, because it changes. Not every day, but quite every week or every other week, and there are some changes here in the Copilot control system. So when we see the agents, for example, I can have here, I put it away, so I have all agents from partners, out-of-the-box agents. I have here search possibilities on how to search the agents. So you see, for example, the researcher. I can click on the researcher. You see which users are deployed to, where are they available, are they available to who. I can block it here, of course. I see the capabilities, and I can set some security and compliance. Yeah, check later because of certification status, but also here, the researcher, for example, is a Teams app. So you can go into the Teams admin center and see the certification of the app there. So also here we have some double things that shouldn't be there, but that's it. Also here you see a red missing an owner. These are my two. I have to put it in here. Hold on. The search bar away. I put here missing owner, and you see these two agents that I've built in June. They are missing an owner. The problem here is I can't yet set an owner from the admin center. I have to use PowerShell to assign an owner. So also here we do have some limitations going on, but as I said, Microsoft is heavily working on the functionalities here in the Copilot control system. So keep a good eye on what's happening here and what we can do with these kind of agents. And here you see the requested agents. I talked to you about that you can set some kind of approval flows when a user builds an agent, that you get a notification. You see the notifications here on top. You can click on it and you see user XYZ requested a new agent. You have here a notification where you see the agents that have been built and that have been requested from your organization. You can click here on it. You can review it. You can block it or deploy it as you like. Then we have the topic of licenses, of course, because we have not only the Copilot license, we have also pay-as-you-go. With pay-as-you-go, you have to set up an Azure resource group and an Azure subscription in order to set a billing policy. If you didn't have set up these two groups or these two functionalities, you cannot set up pay-as-you-go. So these are prerequisites. And here you see pay-as-you-go goes for the Copilot chat and for SharePoint agents. And when talking about Copilot chat, it's also for all agents that are out of the box from Microsoft and that you build yourself and integrate into the Copilot chat and use Copilot pay-as-you-go. These is included, or these kind of agents are included here in this billing policy. Yeah, and of course you have got here some settings for the Frontier. So a lot of out-of-the-box agents come from the Frontier program, such as the Skills agent or the Service agent. You can set here if you want to enable Frontier program or not. It is some kind of public preview. You can also say which kind of agents do you want to use, and also here Copilot pay-as-you-go billing. You get back to this page here. And through the Copilot control system, you do have some kind of governance capabilities. Of course, when talking about Copilot Studio, you have a lot of more governance functionalities in the Power Platform Admin Center. But yeah, that's more or less it that I wanted to show you guys about extensibility. So when we are talking about the mission on how to extend, I hope that you get some information for your next mission to extend your Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you do have any questions, I'll look into the chat. We do have time for now.
Excellent,
Good.
Fabio. Good job as ever. Really, thanks for that.
Yeah,
thank
you.
And very crisp and clear. I think I learned a couple of things too, because like you say, this thing is moving very fast.
This pace is incredible.
But thanks for the demos. Really, really good demos, and you had a lot to cover. So I appreciate that. So I think you're getting a good reaction here as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
And,
I'm curious about the feedback
which makes it worthwhile, right? You've done a good job. So
yeah, thank you so much.
Just like all the other sessions. So I think any questions, anything from anybody?
Yeah, I see, Chris. That's a long one. Okay. But from an MSP consultancy perspective, what's the recommended approach for building Copilot on behalf of customers without breaching licensing terms? For example, if a customer wants a new Copilot Studio agent built, they already have users license of Copilot. They obviously shouldn't need to hand over their own credentials just for us to build it. So is the expectation that we create a dedicated service account? Yeah, to build. And if so, I'm assuming the account needs to retain an active Copilot. No. Okay. Very good question, Chris. I'm thinking that you talk about the Copilot Studio full experience with some kind of automation and things like that. Yeah. So if this is the case, you need a technical user, an admin user. You don't need a license to go into Copilot Studio. You must set up the governance parts of Power Platform. So think about dev environment, test environment, prod environment. Think about billing and everything like that. And then you can build and publish the agents as you wish. So you don't need a Copilot license or the user's credential to build and publish the agent. The only thing that you can't do, of course, is then yourself interact with the agent if you don't have a license or an assigned user. But building and deploying with a technical user, that's the way to go. That's how I do also my projects with agents. Does this answer your question, Chris? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Great.
Awesome. That's good. All right. Any more for anyone?
Yeah.
It's been a long afternoon, so we've had 3 sessions, right? So I really appreciate it. I think most of the attendees hung out, for all 3 sessions in a row, all about Copilot and security governance and all the extending capabilities as you described it. So Great stuff. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll meet up at some conference.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I was really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the feedback is important as well. So I've put the link in the chat for everybody.
Yeah,
so please do fill that out. And also, if you think you would like to see something from that session, do suggest to Fabio or any other speakers so that they could, improve on their content as well, just for you and for others, I guess. So that really helps too. And we'll be back sometime next month. I'm just going to confirm those details, and then of course, we'll meet up again. So at least from that point until then, please take care of yourselves. Recordings and video slides will be made available. So those are the kind of usual links I have. So please do take that away. And yeah, other than that. Same time, hopefully next month, so middle of November. So I'll post you on that. But yeah, thanks everyone, and take care of yourselves.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.